Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news of this evening, police constable collapses and dies in St. Thomas. The St. Thomas police are investigating the sudden death of a colleague who collapsed while walking in the parish on Tuesday night. He has been identified as Constable Jason Beckford of the St. Thomas Police Division. Reports are that about 8 p.m., Beckford was walking along the Hampton Court Main Road in Golden Grove, St. Thomas, when he collapsed. He was taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Trial of cops in Mariadine case stood down. The case involving the 3 cops charged in connection with the 2014 death of Mariadine while in police custody has been stood down until Wednesday afternoon. The case was stood down today due to the absence of the 7th witness who testified on Tuesday and was scheduled to continue with his testimony in chief on Wednesday in the Westmoreland Circuit Court. Following an inquiry, the court was informed that the crime scene investigator was on his way. As a result, Supreme Court Justice Courtney Day allocated an hour for the witness traveling from St. James to be present. Besides, the court was also told by the Crown that they needed to finalize arrangements with another witness who was expected to take the stand for the first time on Wednesday. The Crown prosecutor informed the court that she would do her best to have the witnesses present on Thursday. The 3 cops on trial are District Constable Marlon Grant, Corporal Elaine Stewart, and the Constable Juliana Cleavon, who are all charged with manslaughter and misconduct in a public office. The allegations in the case are that Dean was arrested for possession of a ganja spliff and placed in custody, where he was brutally beaten on August 3, 2014. He sustained severe injuries to his brain, which left him in a coma. He died 3 days later at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in St. James. It is alleged that the 3 cops were on duty at the police station when Dean was beaten. It is further alleged that Corporal Stewart, who has an additional charge of perverting the course of justice, instructed that the cell in which the attack took place be cleaned before the arrival of investigators from the Independent Commission of Investigations. Overhaul of blue license plates regime coming amid concerns of misuse and a lack of controls. Jamaica's tax authority does not have an accurate count of demonstration or blue license plates currently in circulation, the minister with responsibility for the transport sector has disclosed. This admission by Darrell Vaz, Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, comes amid what he describes as growing concerns about the widespread misuse of demonstration plates. Demonstration license plates are issued to car dealerships to facilitate the movement of vehicles from the wharf, showcase vehicles to customers, and for promotional purposes such as automobile shows. But according to Vaz, in many cases, these plates are not being used as intended under the Road Traffic Act and associated regulations. There is a growing concern about the widespread misuse of demonstration plates. Disturbingly, there is credible evidence that demonstration plates are being exploited by individuals to facilitate criminal activities, the minister said during a post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday. Further, he said the issue is compounded by the fact that, unlike other license plates in circulation, the police are currently unable to trace demonstration plates through their smart check system. The lack of control over this system poses a serious threat to public safety and national security, Vaz said, adding that the misuse of blue plates is also an area of revenue loss for the government. Tax Administration Jamaica does not have an accurate count of demonstration plates currently in circulation. This gap in oversight has created opportunities for cloning and unauthorized use by criminal elements. To address these issues, Vaz disclosed that there will be a total revamp of the existing regime, which will be replaced by a web-based permit system that will allow car dealers to access demonstration plates as required. The new system, which is projected to cost approximately $10 million and will require legislative changes, is expected to be in place within a few months. In addition, there will be a total recall of all demonstration plates, the minister disclosed. A deadline for the plates to be handed in will be announced shortly. Under the proposed new system, the authorities will be better able to enforce and monitor compliance with the little resources, Vaz said. St. Anne man charged with murder for death of one-year-old child. The man arrested last Wednesday in relation to the death of one-year-old Alea Michael in Golden Grove, St. Anne, has been charged with murder. 36-year-old Adine Joseph, a farmer of the same community, was charged on Tuesday evening after he gave a recorded statement to investigators confessing to the murder of the baby girl. A post-mortem examination performed on the body of the child on Thursday revealed the various bruises and evidence of trauma, including a fractured skull. Mr. Joseph, who is said to be the stepfather of Alea, was taken into custody hours after the discovery of her body in a basin of water. Man charged with attacking Mayor Michael Belnavis for court on Thursday. The man who allegedly attacked St. Anne's Bay Mayor Michael Belnavis in January is scheduled to appear in the St. Mary Parish Court tomorrow, April 10, on several charges. 34-year-old Chad Thomas, a resident of Ramble St. Mary, was charged in early February with housebreaking, wounding with intent, and malicious destruction of property. Thomas, who is in police custody, is represented by attorney Charles Ganga Singh. The Oraka Besa police reported that on the night in question, Belnavis went to his property, which is currently under construction, where he noticed a television light on inside the building. Belnavis went to investigate and reportedly found Thomas in the house sitting on a couch. The report said Belnavis had seen Thomas before but did not know him by name. When Belnavis ordered him to leave, Thomas allegedly attacked him with a machete, inflicting multiple wounds to his head and hands. During the altercation, Thomas was shot and injured. The police were alerted and both men were taken to the hospital for treatment. Belnavis was reportedly attacked at his property in Boscobel, St. Mary on Monday, January 20. Corporate Jamaica stepping up as USAID freezes funding for cafe election monitoring. With financing from a key international funding agency recently coming to a halt, Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections says it is banking on corporate Jamaica to support its plans to monitor the general election due this year. Several local companies are stepping up to the plate to fill the void created when the Donald Trump administration froze United States Agency for International Development funding to several non-governmental and governmental organizations around the world, including CAFE. Grace Baston, chairman of CAFE, said her organization is aiming to recruit at least 1,000 volunteers to monitor the national polls this year, an increase over relatively modest numbers in the last few general elections. Depending on the number of volunteers the election watchdog is able to muster, its budget could run between $10 million and $20 million. The biggest ticket item for CAFE is the stipend that is given to volunteers at the end of the exercise. The election watchdog is buoyed by its experience in the February 2024 local government elections, where it successfully recruited and deployed about 400 volunteers to monitor the voting process. When informed that USAID funding would not be forthcoming to assist in its election monitoring this year, Baston said CAFE reached out to its private sector partners. In making a pitch to corporate Jamaica, CAFE underscored the extremely valuable service it offers in helping to ensure that elections are run according to the Representation of the People Act. It also emphasized that the role CAFE is playing by getting young people involved in the process to reduce voter apathy among that demographic. If you can convince a dozen teenagers to leave their homes on election day, especially if they are studying for exams, if you can convince them that they should be at a polling station from 6:30 in the morning and remain there until up to 7 p.m., observing, recording, and reporting, You are attacking the debilitating voter apathy that characterizes so many of our young people, she told the news. Many of CAFE's volunteers are drawn from the sixth form cohort in high schools across the country. Commenting on the response up to this point from players in the private sector, Baston said Mayberry Foundation has been extremely helpful. She said companies such as Stewart's Automotive, Supreme Ventures, Westinco, and the JMMB Foundation have been generous in their responses to the organization's call for the assistance. It was great to have funding from foreign sources. However, I think what this is doing is calling us to answer for ourselves. Are we serious about our own democracy? Are we serious about its protection and the preservation? She asked. Baston said that over decades, CAFE has demonstrated that it can efficiently, competently, fairly, and transparently monitor elections as it seeks to preserve the integrity of the electoral process. We want to be able to ensure that, after an election, Jamaicans are confident that the process was fair, that the results truly reflect the will of the people, she said. We know the EOJ is doing a good job, but we watch the EOJ as well, Baston added. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.